And today we're going to be talking about one specific topic. So it's going to be quite interesting as to what comes up for you and, if anything. So what if the reason it's not clicking with you yet has nothing to do with what you're doing and everything to do with the decision you haven't made yet? So I want you to think about that again. What if the reason it's not clicking for you yet has nothing to do with what you're doing and everything to do with what you're like a decision you're not making yet? So we often make a decision that we're going to start a business. We start showing up. We start investing in ourselves. We start investing in the business. We do all the learning that we need to do. We've tried all the strategies. And then we feel as if we're almost there, but we're not quite breaking through. So let me know in the chat if that's something that resonates with you, because it's going to be interesting to see what you have to say with today. So a lot of the times I hear people say, I know what to do, so why am I not doing it? Some people say, I thought I'd be further along by now, and something just feels off. So these are all things that people often have to say. I think I've pretty much said it for myself as well along the journey in bits and pieces. And most people think they need more answers. They need sort of like more strategies or more time. But in actual fact, what you do need is a decision to, go all in. So we, as I said, we make that decision to start the business. We start the business, we do the things. And then it's like, okay, we feel as if we're stuck. Have we made another decision moving forward? So we want to make those decisions that take away all other possibilities. And what I mean by that is we're not going to say to ourselves, okay, I'll try. We're not going to be saying to ourselves, I'll see how it goes. We're not going to be saying to ourselves, I'll do this until it starts getting uncomfortable. We want to make a decision that is final. We are absolutely willing and able to do everything possible to get us to where we want to be. And this is where I see some women feeling stuck. And as I said, I've been in that situation myself. I have coaches that get me through where I need, the stuckiness that I get in and where I need to go. So you've decided on this business, but have you fully decided how you're going to show up in it? So if you sit in that in-between space, which we often can do, the part of you is moving forward and part of you is being held back. So we want to really make that committed decision of what is it that you really want with this business. And that's why it feels like you're in a almost there, but not quite there kind of state. So I've actually I'm going to share this story with you because I've just been binge watching my daughter. She's on the way back from Toowoomba, and a lot of you will know she does mountain bike racing, and she's actually in the car with her father at the moment coming back from Toowoomba in Queensland. And she had an event up there, which they were up there from Thursday, and I've just been watching her on her Instagram of the reel that she put together for her event. Now she's 16 in the under 19s, and she came fifth. She came second in terms of the girls her age, so everyone else is older than her. And there was another event which was combined, which was the Oceanic event, which means that people from New Zealand and America could come and join in the national series for this particular round. So she came sixth in that. When I was looking at the actual video that she put together, I just went, oh, holy shit. She really wanted me to go to Toowoomba with her, and I was going to go, and then I bailed because when I took her to Mount Buller, I watched her do a crash that took her out of that event, but could have been very catastrophic.
Oh.
And so it's like, I look at her and I think, excuse the French, but it's like, Jesus fuck, what you do requires such a decision and commitment to do and get down the hill. And this is where I thought this is interesting that this story is coming together today, because it's like, okay, the commitment and the decision to put her life on the line, which is what they do. And I can show you her reel, and I can also show you another boy that we know that lives near us that actually had a massive crash in the same place of where you can see all the video that she's doing or she's had done on her. And he came away, and Colin, my partner, said every bone in his body should have been broken, but he came away with no broken bones at all. And
Mhm.
so this is like they are, the commitment and the decision they are making. They are willing and able to do absolutely anything and everything that requires them to get to the bottom of the hill in the fastest and the safest way possible. And that's why I thought I'd share that story with you, because this is a bit of an aha moment when it comes to us in business. Are we doing absolutely everything we are willing and able to do? Are we absolutely committing and making the decisions that we need to make to build our business and do the things that we want to do? And like I said, I wanted to share that with you because what she does at 16, what I do at 56 is just very different. I've given up my journey of mountain bike riding. I've had a couple of crashes in my life, and it's like, yeah, no, I don't need to do that. I think I like to be at the finish line and cheer everyone over. But when it comes to it, it's not the strategy that creates the momentum. It's the decision that changes how you show up in every strategy. And this is when I'm looking at her, when I'm looking at Oscar, who actually crashed on the weekend. It's their decisions, and it's such a fine line. Now, that the weekend at Toowoomba was very dusty and very dry. So it was like they were riding through sand in some of the places. And so it's very slippery. And when these kids are going 30, 40, 50, 60 kilometers an hour down a hill over rocks and doing all sorts of things, the decision and the commitment they've got to make is insane. So when the decision isn't fully made, you go back to like overthinking, you start doubting yourself, you start stopping, and you start looking for things that are beyond where you're at. And it feels like you're doing everything right, but you're still second guessing yourself because the clients aren't coming, or the views aren't coming on your social media, or whatever it is for you. So I want to make this real for you. I'm going to ask you a few questions, and you can write down the answers. You don't need to voice your opinion unless you would like to come on view and actually speak. I want you to think about this. When you look at your business right now, what do you actually want to change? And more than that, I suppose, what results do you want to achieve in the next 3 months? And the thing is, we want to be really, really specific. So when we get really, really specific, we get more clarity around what we want. So I just had a coaching client at 10 o'clock. That's why I had to change the live, because she's in America and the time change is now different. The responsibility she's taking for herself, a lot of people would actually just brush under the carpet. And one of the things that I really took from Bob Proctor when I was being mentored by him, I was in his masterclass for about 6 months. He used to say to us all the time, people who are in the personal development industry are about 3% of the population. 3% of the population that can look at themselves and go, I'm avoiding this. I'm not taking responsibility here to achieve this particular result. 3% of the population, you included in that 3%. So we could be now 4% or 5%, whatever it is, from when I was actually in his masterclass. Most people will brush anything under the table or under the rug, so they don't have to deal with who they are, where their insecurities are, when they're actually not taking the action that they want to take to achieve the things that they want to achieve. And so pat yourself on the back, because you guys are in that space where you will do the hard yards. Looking at yourself and going, okay, well, I'm avoiding this. I'm not doing that. And when you actually acknowledge that and you're becoming aware of it, that's when you can change. So I want to ask you another question. What are you willing and able to do to achieve what you want to achieve? Because it's easy to say what you want. Yep, I want this, I want that. But when it comes down to it, are you willing and able to do absolutely everything that is required for you to get to where you want to be? Because you must be willing and able to do everything within your power. We don't want to do it when it's convenient. We don't want to do it when you're not feeling motivated. We want to do it consistently. And social media is huge when it comes to the consistency of things. And that, Sue, I need to talk to you about your social media again. I think you've got some, I don't know, setting or something. Whenever you look at something, it gets shared to your feed, because
Oh,
all
okay.
those shared, I'm not sure if there is something there, but you might want to have a look into something, because it's like, yeah, you're sharing absolutely everything when we don't want to be sharing everything that we're
I thought
looking
I'd
at. So
stopped. I thought I'd stopped.
yeah, well, there must be some automatic thing in there. I'm not sure. So maybe have
Okay.
a look at that to see if there's an automatic setting or something. I
Okay.
haven't heard of anything, but maybe just Google it.
Okay.
And then I want to ask you another question. Where are you settling instead of going all in? So a lot of the times we settle for where we're at instead of going, I'm going to go all in this. We sit in that terror barrier of going, oh my God, I've got to open this door of uncertainty. I don't know what I'm doing. You know, where are you holding yourself back? Where are your actions not matching what you say you want? All these sorts of things. And we sit in that terror barrier because we go, right, if I step through that door, I've got no idea what's on the other side. And it opens up a whole heap of can of worms for me to either be criticized, for me to be judged, for me to make mistakes, all these sorts of things. And this is the thing, you know, we sit at that door and we go, do I want to go through, or do I want to, you know, stay in that safe position? So it comes down to that decision. Okay, so most people say they want clarity. They say, I need to just figure out my next move. But clarity doesn't come from thinking about it more. It actually comes from making the decision and taking the action. So, where do you need to decide in your business about your next move? Do you think that you're sitting in that stuck place of overthinking things, and you keep going around and around in circles, or you keep searching for that right move? Because when we decide, your next move does become obvious. So wherever you're sitting in your business now, yep, you've made the decision you want to become a coach, you've gone online. So where are you sitting now in terms of having more clarity around that next decision? What is it that you want? Is it that you want to be more visible on social media? Is it that you really want to get some clients? Is it that you want to start earning $10,000 months? Whatever it is for you, it doesn't matter. But we need to make that decision that that's our next bold move, and that we're going to do absolutely everything willing and able within our power to do it and achieve it. Because then when we've made that decision, we get more clarity around what we've got to do. We become more courageous within the steps that we need to make for us to achieve that next goal, if you want to call it. So instead of asking, what should I do? What's the right strategy? Ask yourself, based on what I've just said, what is my next move? And then back it with a decision. Don't sit in that overthinking. Don't sit in that procrastination. Think of it as, right, this is my next move and this is what I'm going to do. And this is a really powerful line just here. You don't need a full plan right now. You need clarity on your next move and the courage to follow through. So we don't need to have it all figured out. We just need to know where we're going. We want to have some clarity around the next move, and then we want to have the courage to follow through. So we want to be visible on social media. where on social media do you feel that you're holding yourself back? Where on social media do you feel you can decide to go to that next level and have that next level of courage to get you, more visible? So these are the questions that we want to be asking ourselves along the way in our journey to achieving what we want to achieve, because we will, without us even knowing it, hold ourselves back. Is that you, Susan, or is
Yeah,
that?
it's I'm in an apartment. They're doing a fire test or something. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. All good.
Hang on, I might just go out. Hang on, just move.
That's
Let's go out.
okay.
Let's go
So
outside.
these questions you could have answered along your way in this little live here, or you could be answering them after the live.
Yeah.
But once you've got your answers, you know what you want. You'll know what is required, and you'll know where you're settling. Because the thing is, we make these decisions, we achieve these things, then we sometimes forget to make that next decision to create that next move. And we sit in a place where we sort of just drift. So we don't want to be in that space of drifting. We want to always go, okay, I've achieved this. How courageous am I? I'm going to now do this next move. So the question is, what is your next move? Are you going to decide, or are you going to delay? Because this creates habits within your life. And sometimes those habits, when we feel as if we've achieved something, we feel as if, I've achieved something, I can now rest. And I'll tell you, I've done it. Honestly, last year I got 4 clients back to back, and I just went, I've won the lotto, and then all of a sudden took the brakes off. It was like, this is easy. I've done all this sort of stuff. And it was like, I stopped myself. I then stopped myself of the flow of receiving more clients. And this was just a decision I made. I consciously knew I made it, but I didn't realize the outcome that I was going to have. So this is the thing. We can stall ourselves moving forward from decisions we make in our business just purely out of ignorance. So I'm just trying to give you information so that when you've achieved something and you feel as if you've done that really well, give yourself a high five in the mirror, but don't stay still. Make that next decision to go to that next level and do that next move, because we don't want to sit in that delaying kind of state. So as you all know, this is the work that I do. It's, we look at the invisible side of success. We look at that, the part of all the stuff that you've got to do where no one wants to know that you're doing it. Because the journey that you are on, your family, your friends are only going to want to know when you're succeeding. They're not going to want to know with all the bits and pieces that you're doing behind the scenes, which, when you have a look at that image that we see on Facebook where you have the ocean and you've got the little bit of the peak of the iceberg above, which is where all the success is, but then below the iceberg, or below the water level, you've got 6 times as much of all those little things that you've had to go through all the way up. That's the kind of work that I do. So we work on the invisible side of success. It's the hard stuff. It's the stuff that people don't realize that they've got to do to achieve the things that they want to achieve. And I was talking to my other daughter the other night, because she stayed here, and I was telling her a story about there was an Olympian who said, I think he was like a 400 or 800 meter runner. And he said, for the next Olympics, I want to take a second off my time. And I'm thinking, oh my God, 4 years to take a second off your time. But this is how dedicated some people are to achieving the things that they want to achieve. The amount of times that he's got to run around the track, the amount of times he's got to go to the gym, the amount of times that he will not see that needle move in that first year, that second year, that third year, that fourth year, to get that 1 second off their time. And this is the thing. how dedicated are you to get to achieve the things that you want to achieve? Because so many times the needle won't move and you'll be wondering why the hell I'm doing all this work, nothing's happening. But it's all about the decisions that you're making, the decisions that you're making every day of the week. Now, I've got a chapter by Bob Proctor in the Facebook group that you guys can go and have a look at. It's called Decision. It's, if you go into the files section, there will be I think it's the bottom one, Decision by Bob Proctor. Go and print it out or go and put it on your computer where you can read it, and read it if you're interested every day for 30 days. Because what will happen in this time, you will read it once, you might read it twice, you'll then think, why do I need to do this? You'll then make up an excuse. You'll then go and do 600 other things before you go and read the chapter. This shows you how resistant or how good you are at creating a new habit. And when we create a new habit, and this is how he taught me to create a new habit, was by being persistent in waking up every morning and writing out my affirmations, reading a chapter, reading a book, whatever it is. And every time there was a bit of resistance from me, it was like, go and do it anyway. And that will show you how to create change and understand who you are when you're up against something that is testing whether you are courageous enough to go and do something or not, whether you are making the decision to go and do something or not. So there's a little bit of a challenge for you guys. I'd be interested to see how you go with it. Also, just be honest with yourself. If you decide that, nah, that's not for me, that's not for you, that's fine. But why? Ask yourself, why am I not participating in this challenge? Why am I resisting to do this? And you'll actually answer your own questions.